Aloha anglers, Creaky Tiki here, just back from an 8-day trip. Got a whole bunch of gear to clean, and I'm going to tell you my recommendations for the best ways I found to get that gear clean and ready to go again. I got a pile of rods that are full of scales and salt and deposits and need to be cleaned off. Pile of reels with the line taken off of them since we've gotten back, and a whole bunch of line. Now, I take the braided line off my reels every trip, and that's not necessary, but it's preferable to me for a couple reasons. The first is braided line, even though it doesn't technically absorb water, it holds a lot of water on the surface, and it's wound very tightly on your reel. So when you get back from a trip and that braid's been off and it's got salt water on it, and it sits and sits and sits, it's hard for it to dry, and it can get a real musty smell. The other worry is that if it sits on your spool too long, you can start to get corrosion spots. Like this spool here on this older reel has a couple of the corrosion spots. You can see the darker spots on there in that spool. And if that salt water in that line sits in that spool, it can eat through that corrosion and destroy that spool. So I like to use the Swifty line removal system to both remove the line and wash it and get it ready for the next trip. Now, these systems are not currently available. Hopefully they'll be back available in the future. It's a really slick way to strip that line from your reels, to wash and dry that line, and then put it back on. With its open center and the bars in there, it gets a lot of ventilation, and that line over a few days will dry completely out and clean. So if you want to preserve those spools and you want to get that musty smell out of your braided line, it's a good way to go. So let's get started. I'll let you know what I like to do. The first thing is, have you ever had a car that was really dusty and dirty, and you took the hose and the nozzle and you squirted it off while it was wet? It looked really good, but then when it dried out, you saw there's still a layer of dirt and film and junk on it. So two things help to remove dirt and salt from your equipment. The first is soap. Soap's a great dirt and salt and cutting agent. And the second is friction. So I'll take a 5-gallon bucket, put a little bit of soap and water in it. And I like to use the two-sided sponges, the blue sponges that has the kind of scratchy side and then the regular sponge side. Now the green and yellow sponge looks similar, but the scratchy side of that green and yellow sponge is really rough. You can literally, if you work at it, scratch chrome with it, because the green scratchy material is actually steel wool covered with polypropylene or some kind of plastic, and it can get really rough. The blue one is just straight plastic, so it's, even though it has a little bit of abrasion on it, it doesn't tend to tear your stuff up as much. Now I'll use the blue side on the handles, never on the shafts of the rods. I don't want to ruin that finish. When I'm washing the shafts of the rod, I'll use the smooth light blue side. So dark blue side where you need to scrub the Hypalon and the handles and the shrink wrap. The light blue side, the regular sponge side, when you're washing the shafts and the guides and when you're washing your reels. So let's get to it, okay? I got it all set up here. We've got our hose out. So we're going to take the rod and the bucket and the sponge. And here's how I normally go about it, okay? Let's get this lined up here where you can see it. So I will stick the butt of the rod. Okay, let's get it straighter here. There we go. In the soap. Take that scratchy side and work on all of those dried on scales. Now you may still have to pick a couple of scales off by hand, but this will get a bunch of them off, and that soap will really help. These scales have almost a glue on them. When they dry on the rod, they can get really tough. After I've done the butts and the reel seat really well, get that salt off, then I'll go up the shaft of the rod with that sponge, washing well around the eyes, This is a longer rod, so it's got a lot of eyes. And this will get rid of virtually all of that salt and dried on gunk that's on that rod after a long trip. Okay? Once that's done, just take your hose and give it a light rinse. The rod is rinsed off. We're going to set it up to dry. And once it's dried, we're going to give it the treatment with the Pledge spray wax I've talked about in a previous video. Similar thing for the reels. I'll take the reel. For the reel, you'd never want to blast water into the reel. So we'll just give it a light shower so you don't blast water in it. Use the soft side of the sponge and soap and friction. Try to get all those tough to get spots. And then a very light rinse. Again, being careful not to blast water into that reel. You don't want water on the insides. I've seen anglers use the jet spray to just blast water through the reel. Not a good idea. Once it's rinsed off, set it aside to dry. And once it's dry, put on your favorite preservative, whether it's a spray WD-40 or Corrosion X, something like that to help preserve that reel. Now for the braided line, when it's on these spools, it's pretty easy. You just need to throw it in and let it soak a little bit. Soap is a great penetrating agent, and it will help get that soapy cleaning water down inside. Once it's soaked a few minutes, give them a little washing machine action. A very light rinse, because that soap is a great penetrating agent. It breaks down the surface tension of the water. Okay? And once you've given it a very light rinse, just find a convenient place to set them and let them dry. Okay? I do the same thing for all my other equipment. I do that for my boots, the tackle boxes, everything else that I take on those trips. The soapy water in that sponge does a great job. So that's it. Use a little bit of soap and water, a little bit of light cleaning abrasion with a soft sponge on your finished surfaces, that non-scratchy sponge on the handles and the reel seats. When everything's dry, put some kind of preservative on them. Like I said, I recommend the spray Pledge wax for the rods, and either the bulk WD-40 or Corrosion X on your reels, or something like the Boeing product for anti-corrosion. Let everything dry. You're set to go for your next trip. Your reels and equipment will be in good shape for a long, long time, many years to come. That's it for today. Creaky Tiki wishing you tight lines. Not light lines, tight lines, and much aloha. We'll be talking to you again soon. Aloha.